AskReddit by Marina Babiark. What's the most bizarre way you found out that your so is cheating, not totally being honest to you? My ex lived in an apartment 15 miles away. The night in question at approx 1 am, a neighbor of hers accidentally fired a round while cleaning his gun. The bullet went through their mutually shared wall, through another, and lodged in her refrigerator. The cops were called by another neighbor and she ended up with a police report and stuff. I ended up reading the police report and it mentioned her and a guy's name I didn't know were reported in bed at her place at the time of the accidental discharge. She confessed right there she had a fuck buddy 1.5-year relationship down the drain. You win this entire thread. What are the actual chances? A colleague of mine was out doing shopping when she ran into a family friend who happens to be a police officer. She asked how he was doing and he said he was good but that he was tired because they were out all night looking for a car that fled from an own drug and prostitute spot. He mentioned that they never found the suspect but that during the chase the suspect's car hit a curb and lost its front bumper, so they were on the lookout for a white sedan without a front bumper. Later that evening her husband returned from an out-of-town business trip without his front bumper. He had a white sedan. It sounds like the police officer knew it was her husband and was giving her a heads up. My auntie heard from her hairstylist that her husband was cheating on her. She found the address of the affair partner and went on Google Earth. Her husband's truck was in the driveway when Google Earth had taken the picture. My wife was a hoarder. She bought cheap used items but never looked at her things later. Never, ever. She completely filled out garage to the ceiling. She was out of town when I put some of her things on the curb for trash pickup, broken toys, etc. I was standing there on the curb when the Google Street View truck took my picture. Busted. His mom told me. There's an awkward conversation, but good on her. Although I am imagining a more awkward situation where she drags him in by his ear and says he has something to tell you and makes him confess. My fiancée got drunk one night and started talking about how much she enjoyed the sex we had last night. I was working last night. Ex-fiancée I hope. I got a bunch of creepy PMs on Discord and on Reddit. Stuff like I have a secret that would change your entire world, and if only you knew what went on behind your back. When I confronted the person and asked they were talking about, they just went like I can't tell you, or like how badly do you want to know. Turns out my now ex BF was fucking some chick he met online who enjoyed stalking. If you found my new account, hello to you. Wow, so he cheated on you and gave you a stalker. I'd fight him LMAO. And who takes up cheating plus stalking as a hobby? Some humans are real characters. A girl I hardly knew called me in the middle of the night and said she had just seen my long-term boyfriend's car at the trailer house of a gal who was newly divorced. She's a major real one for that. Needed to send my mom something for Mother's Day. Was thinking out loud when my husband suggested a specific online gift basket company. That man, to my knowledge, had never ordered a gift basket in his life. I bought all the gifts for our family and our business. Went into QuickBooks and searched for the name of the company. Found a Valentine's gift basket sent to a bartender at a place we sometimes stopped after together after work. The second story where QuickBooks was the narc. Drove past a motel as I was on my way home from visiting my parents in another city. Some of the motel room doors faced the freeway, and just as he was stepping out of one of the rooms, I happened to glance over as I drove by on the freeway. He was wearing his distinctive motorcycle suit, and his motorcycle was parked right there. He looked back into the room and was talking and laughing just as he stepped out just as I saw him, so I didn't think he saw me or my car. I never revealed to him that this was how I found out, but he confessed when I said I knew he'd been unfaithful. Ex and I shared a bank account. One day the bank called me to approve an over limit amount at an escort service in Nevada. Props to your bank for telling you what's up lol. We went to the same college. He was emailing me an assignment to look over for him to make sure it looked professional. I noticed the email was in a woman's name. He had forgotten to let her log off of his computer. That made me suspicious, so I waited until he was asleep, went on his phone and got solid proof, sent it to myself. Kicked his ass out of bed into the curb. Lol. Get up. Get out. Not wrong. He tried sexting his brother's ex-girlfriend. Claimed I was too sick to engage in those activities. To be fair, at the time I had just gotten out of the hospital from septic shock, double kidney infection, and multiple other complications, and that I had given him permission to seek pleasure elsewhere. She screenshotted everything and sent it to me. He knew we were still friends at the time, so I was shocked he attempted something like this with someone he knew I talked to frequently. She drove 2 hours down to our residence to confront him with me there. He was such a deer in headlights when she showed up, and we were all patiently waiting for him to come inside to confront him. I gave him back his engagement ring then and there. You have a badass friend. One time when I knew my ex was cheating and I was trying to get him to admit it so I could break up with him, he started sending screenshots of our texts to show me how crazy I was being. One of those screenshots had the little box at the bottom of the text chat of his camera roll open, I guess, while he was sending me the screenshots. There was a picture of another girl, pics of him at her house, etc. I actually laughed out loud when I saw it. Something about him trying to convince me I'm insane while simultaneously sending me evidence by accident was weirdly hilarious. Fun tip going forward, you don't need them to admit anything. You can break up with someone at any time. A guy I was dating told me that he was going up to his old college to visit some friends, and that his ex was gonna be there. He told me over and over that they were just friends and nothing would happen. That should have been the first red flag waving in my face, but I trusted him. Then on the way home, he called me randomly and said that him and his ex talked and realized they were soulmates that would eventually end up together, but he wanted to try things out with me. Like, what the fuck? No, I'm not your backup plan. I also have a feeling they fucked, or kissed, or something, and he decided not to tell me. I had that weird soulmate but tried out excuse on me as well. Sucks, man. Cheers. My boyfriend at the time wished me happy birthday randomly one day in July. My birthday is in April. He tried to play it off as a joke when I was confused, but I later found out that he was still seeing the woman that he claimed was his ex, and he had our birthdays and other info in his calendar to try to keep everything straight. He slipped up and wished me happy birthday on her birthday. The dog was playing with a notebook, didn't look like a diary or anything. I pick it up. First page had a list of names. I didn't recognize some of them. Her ex was before my name was before someone else. Deleted. Wife went on a business trip that she swore was on her own. Called her hotel room late one night, no answer. Called the hotel front desk and asked if they could connect me to name of someone she worked with, and they put me right through. He answered the phone, and when I told him to put her on, he handed it to her. So you had suspicions already? At work. His company subcontracted off of my company. They were in construction, and we offered rig camp services. So the company would do tear down and set up for us. Anyways, he's had a close relationship with his office assistant. One day I received a frantic call from him crying, saying his job was over. Then she called and said she was fixing it and not to worry about it. I had no idea what was up. Apparently, they were caught in a hotel room doing coke, drugs, and obviously having an affair, and later that morning, he was found outside the camp passed out wasted in the company truck. Fired. That afternoon I was brought into my manager's office and my supportive boss broke it to me like this. He said, would I like the good news or bad? I said good. I got a gift card and was told my husband of a year was a cheating, lying pose junkie. Yay me. So precious that your boss bought you a gift card beforehand. OMG. He received a letter in the mail for Christmas with her panties in it. Don't leave me in suspense here. Did they fit him? My 9-year-old neighbor girl used to come over and play with our dog. She was very sweet and I felt bad for her as her mom was a barfly and she was often alone, so I didn't mind. She told me once that when I leave for my second job another girl comes over and leaves just before I get home. Then I found one of her long curly hairs in our bed. In high school, a guy friend of mine came into my work and asked when my boyfriend and I broke up. I was wearing his senior key and said we hadn't broken up. He desperately tried to backpedal, but I made him talk. In another town, he had seen a girl wearing his letter jacket, and in a different town another girl had his class ring. 3 years ago I registered my husband's email for our new QuickBooks. I was gathering documents and the tax lady was emailing me some information I needed so we could file taxes. When I checked his email, I found one from Tinder, thanking him for joining. You've been cheated on 3 times. Fuck. I'm sorry. You deserve better. We'd been together just under a year. One day I was talking to my close friend and mentioned being excited to go to the movies with him. She looked super confused and said, "You're still together now?" Both of us were totally confused and she just pulled out her phone and showed me a pic on the Instagram of a girl we both knew. My boyfriend was in the pic kissing her and the caption said something along the lines of "Life's easy when you have the best boyfriend in the world by your side." I was floored. It turned out everyone in our friend group knew. Most of them assumed I was just handling the breakup super well and didn't want to pry because I'm a very private person and didn't really talk about my personal life too much. Others knew he was cheating and didn't say a word when I brought him up in conversation as my boyfriend. To this day I think back and cringe. I felt like a complete idiot. Hope you dumped the shitty friends too. Dang. Not me but my parents. Dad came home, went to the bathroom, went straight to bed, said he had dinner at the pub. I, 16ish at the time, went to the bathroom after him and found a condom floating in the toilet water. I instantly knew it had to belong to my dad with someone else, because it wasn't there when I was in the bathroom earlier, and my parents had no reason to need one, both in their 50s and married for decades. I went to the kitchen and got my mom to follow me to the toilet to show it to her. Dad told me it must have been stuck on his seat at the pub and stuck to his pants all the way home up until he went to the toilet. They stayed together for about 6 more months. My question is, why did he bring it with him? Like, did he carry it around for emotional support? The woman he was cheating on me with looked at my LinkedIn profile. They'd worked together, so I asked him about it, and knew instantly from his reaction what was going on. He left his phone in the bathroom and she texted, "I'm pregnant, what are we gonna do?" What did they do? I was at work and a buddy was scrolling through Match.com while we chatted. Up pops a picture of my girlfriend in my living room where she lived. I went home, logged into the computer and pulled up her profile. Shut off the screensaver and went up to my room. I heard her come in, start crying and leave again. The next day when I came home from work all her shit was gone. Gotta love it when the trash takes itself out.